Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a Dead by Daylight discussion video and a discussion on gaming as a whole. Because some things have happened lately, and I want to speak my piece about something that's probably going to get me blacklisted by a lot of video game companies reasonably, right? I'm going to get to the core of it and we'll talk about the rest. I have always been pro leaks in video games. Well, okay, maybe not always. If you decide to release the entire plot to a story driven game, that's different. But if you're releasing new information on characters that might come to the games, for games that have them, like unlockable characters, like I play Smash. Guess what? Everybody loves to figure out, oh my gosh, is uh, Steve actually going to be in? And after years of asking for Steve and Sora, guess who finally comes in, right? But let's take it back to DBD. And why I'm talking about this after. As you can see, it's the 12th when I'm recording this during the Super Bowl, and Rihanna is pregnant. And I was just on Twitter, and I was thinking about this that happened a few days ago with DBD's official channel releasing a teaser for the upcoming chapter release. And that's it. Now, it's a teaser, it's a little taste, right? But this is kind of what I want to talk about. It doesn't tell us anything. But think about how long we haven't known anything for a game cycle, right? People are always talking about things in between games, but this time around, people seem to be ecstatic because they don't know anything about the upcoming chapter. And I understand that can be refreshing, but just for the record, this came out on the 10th. We won't know more for another 3 days at the time of recording, so the 15th. So 5 days out. And we haven't known anything for 3 months. The night's release happened. A lot of people tell you everybody got tired of it really quickly for two reasons, which is the same reason essentially. Night got boring for both sides, right? It was boring to play against and to play as, especially when it came to the maps. If you were on a map that had a lot of corners, like the game, guess what? The night was good. And if you were on maps that didn't have a lot of those corners, the night was bad. So it felt bad for everyone, and everyone got burnt out because there's only so many times you can make a palette buster hubris video for another character in between. And you'll hear a lot of content creators are tired at this moment because there's nothing. It got dry really quick. And that's what I think people hate too much on leaks with, is that it gives information. Let's talk about another thing with leaks, is that people seem to treat it as the end all be all for everything. Remember when this gave us something to talk about in between the lull of content right now? We all thought that Bubba was leaving us because of something dug up and a leak here and a leak there. We were all so convinced, right? Behavior made some more money because everybody was like, wait, I gotta buy Bubba before he's gone. And creators had something to make videos about. You all clicked those Bubba videos. Trust me, I saw. And everybody has something to talk about. It's like, really? What if Bubba leaves the game? This means that the game's going downhill, and they can't hold on to any licenses. Oh my gosh! Or man, if Bubba leaves, who's been here forever, what does that mean for everybody else? It gives you things to talk about with a leak, if it's right or if it's wrong. And let's talk about the events that it's been right. Right? We knew pretty much this entire blurb about Wesker. But what does that tell you? The mastermind can barrel forward, infecting survivors with the Ouroboros virus or leaping over obstacles. Without seeing that in game, you have no clue what that means. We just knew that he had a dash of some sort. Some sort? Like, we had no clue what that meant. We knew what his perks did, We didn't know how good these would be or how bad. This one was different, and it's still technically coded different than what you can see, but without seeing everything play a part in game, what does it do for you? You have the information, and what? We know he has a 40-meter tear radius. We knew that he was going to have a bigger than usual tear radius. What does that tell me? Did we know that Wesker was going to just start grabbing people by the throat and throwing them into walls? No, we didn't. We just knew he had a dash and that he did infection again. And we all were scared that the same thing that happened with Nemesis was going to happen to Wesker. 3 health states, but instead you can dash to them instead of having to hit a whip or something. We were all terrified of how that was going to play out. Or somebody else that we knew things about. Our most recent. We knew that there were going to be guards that you could put on patrol mode. We had no clue how bad that was going to be. Nobody knew that you were going to have to put your sword, light a bonfire, and then that's how you were going to summon your guards. Nobody knew that. We had this information, but what does that do for you? You heard that the perks were going to do what they did. Some people thought this was going to be way better than it is. Having that information effectively does nothing but give you something to talk about in between. Dredge, a killer that we always thought conceptually was going to be bad. Since the dawn of time, people have said, well, with the way locker spawns are on maps, any killer that just teleports between lockers is going to be bad. Then, when we heard about what Dredge did, we all went, wait, this is actually cool. What took them so long to do this? Then we started playing Dredge, and it was like, oh, we knew this was going to be bad. The locker spawns aren't good. We already knew that. Behavior said, hey, here's some more lockers. And is Dredge bad? After more time, I think we all can come to the conclusion that Dredge is okay. There's some things that need to be fixed still, such as being loud as everything while trying to be a stealth killer, and still locker placements on some maps. But even something as simple as the concept that we knew forever, we didn't know how else it could get implemented to be okay. We knew nothing about Sadako till they said, yo, Ringu. And then, guess what? Sadako came out and it was terribly disappointing. So you run that risk of, when you know nothing, disappointing everybody when it finally comes out. And you also run the risk of people knowing things, and it's still turning out good. Yeah, everybody's tired of Wesker because it's fun for the killer. And I think people are finally starting to get out of their butt hurt. I've seen this killer 10 times today because it's fun and because it's new. And they're starting to understand that playing against Wesker is fun too, right? We heard that Nemesis was going to have zombies. Did we know that the zombies were going to be as bad as they are? Not at all. Did we know that we were going to do 3 health states to try to get an injury? No. But hey, all we knew was Resident Evil chapter, and then we started guessing. There was a lot of race to what Nemesis could do. Once some people figured out it was probably Nemesis instead of like Mr. X or Lady D, it was, oh, we're actually giving the killer a rocket launcher? And, well, he doesn't have a rocket launcher. And I think a lot of us wish that he did. But you can know everything you want to know about some of the chapters and information. But let's not treat leaks like they're just the end all to be all. I've seen way too many people, oh my gosh, it's so refreshing to not know anything about that's coming up. And then what happens if it flops? What happens if we have another release like this, where we go, oh, that sounds cool, and then it's just completely just miserable for both sides at one point in time? What do we do then? Do we be miserable? Are we miserable for another 3 months? Because marketing doesn't want to tell you anything because they are very fond of surprises. And don't get me wrong, if I was a game dev, I would like my stuff to be a surprise too. But you have to really bank on it actually being good enough to keep people entertained long enough for the next release. So that's my piece with leaks in general in games. I think people have always been playing too much kiss ass to act like they really care if leaks happen. And I can understand it could be really annoying randomly scrolling your timeline and then all of a sudden you see, thanks to leaks, Bubba's gone. Or thanks to leaks, we know everything about the new killer. I can understand that frustration being pretty annoying. Trust me, I go on YouTube and you tell me the final boss of Pokemon the same day the game has been released for everyone because you had a review copy, you suck. But I think too many people treat leaks like the end all be all, and it just doesn't need to be like that. So, yeah, tell me what you think. If you like the video, like it, got a comment for me, comment, and until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.